Hi, am I speaking with Abeni? Abeni, I don't want to pronounce
Albany,
your name wrong.
yeah, Albany. Thank you so much for taking my call. I've been listening to you for about a year. I think I've played almost every single video you've put on YouTube.
Oh, man, I'm so glad to help.
Thank you. So I had a quick question that I kind of wanted to run by you.
Mm-hmm.
I was in a long term friendship with a person that I found out was a narcissist,
Mm-hmm.
and uh, basically what happened was I lost my mother and my grandmother last year
Oh, I'm
in a
so
7 day
sorry.
period. And so
Oh, no.
it was a really tumultuous time. It was very depressing. And,
Mm-hmm.
because of that conflict and because I wasn't able to give this person what she was looking for, it essentially ended the friendship. And
Right.
so, I felt that that was the best thing to do, to just kind of distance
Mm-hmm.
myself.
Yep.
And the problem that I'm having is I have another long term friend um, who just has a tendency to overtalk me. I mean, I could be on the phone with him for like 20 minutes before he even asks, how you're doing. And
Right.
so eventually I told him, I said, listen, I can't talk to you because I'm going through a lot right now and I can't be on the phone, listening to somebody who's not even asking me how I'm doing or has no interest in what I'm talking about. And
Right.
he
Like you're saying you
apologized.
just don't have any space for that right now.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I explained to him, why, and he said that in the past he felt that he had a problem with narcissism, but he feels
Mm-hmm.
as though he's not a narcissist anymore, and
Oh,
I
okay.
see no change in his behavior. It's to the point where I've just stopped communicating because I'm not sure really what to do.
Right. And so what is your specific question, or do you just want my thoughts on that, or I want to make sure that I answer you specifically?
How would you handle a person like that? Because he hasn't shown any other narcissistic qualities, but
Mm-hmm.
he's very overbearing, and I'm not sure really what the
Right.
best thing to do would be.
Well, I think that part of the reason why you may or may not have seen other narcissistic qualities could be also because of the nature of your relationship. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Sometimes you don't see those, some of the behaviors won't show up depending on what the relationship is. But I think that kind of the way you're doing it, I think that's the right thing to do, which is kind of set your boundaries and say, hey, listen, I don't have space for this right now. And I understand, how you feel and your feelings are important to me. But, I've had a lot of things going on with me right now, and I just really, I'm going to have to take a step back from this relationship. It sounds like that's basically what you did. Is that what you have kind of done?
Yeah, that's what I had to do. I mean, the first time, and after a month, I spoke to him and told him that I felt that he wasn't listening to me. And so then he
Mm-hmm.
apologized and we reconnected. And within a week, it was back to the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, and
yeah.
unfortunately, that's really, really common. So, because you know how it is. I mean, people will remember, oh, okay, somebody so and so doesn't want me to do this and that, but also our true natures take over. And
Yeah.
so, I think the way that you're handling it sounds right. Because remember, boundaries are about you; they're not about the other person. So, the problem here is that you are needing, more room for yourself right now, and you don't have any space for that at this time. So
Yeah.
I think that's the perfect way to do it. And you just back off a little bit from the relationship. And if he gets upset or he has a problem about it, just remember that's not your responsibility. Okay, it's not your responsibility to manage his behavior, or however he feels about that is how he feels, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I really appreciate your call. Thank you so very much. May the Great Spirit bless you.
Thank you very much. Bye bye.
Bye bye. Boundaries, very, very important. And it can be difficult for people to set boundaries because, this is very unfamiliar for a lot of people. Sometimes people don't even really know what boundaries are, right? Like whenever you say, let's make boundaries. So what does that mean? What does it mean to create boundaries? Sometimes people don't even know. But one of the things about boundaries and any behavior that you are doing that sort of bumps up against your old conditioning is to remember that our brains are complicated in a lot of ways and complex, but the way they work in many ways is very simple. Because brains don't like things that are not familiar, and they do like things that are familiar. So Whenever you're doing these things that are unfamiliar to you, for example, creating boundaries, enforcing boundaries, advocating for yourself, the different things that some people might not be used to doing, then your brain identifies that as unfamiliar, which means that it's bad, right? This is dangerous. That's why you have that nervous system response that we often see, where people, they get really upset, they get, your heart starts beating, you get nervous, you get worried, and plus some of your past conditioning has already taught you that this is going to lead to something bad. If I tell people no, if I enforce a boundary, if I advocate for myself, people are going to get upset with me, they're going to be angry at me, something bad might happen. So, excuse me, one of the things to remember, that sort of the cure for that, or the way to deal with that, is repetition, right? Time and exposure is what you need for that, because the more you can make the unfamiliar familiar, then your brain stops red flagging it as something that's like super duper dangerous. Excuse me. And so when you can do that, it will stop activating your nervous system. And so whenever that's happening too, something you can do sort of to calm yourself down and activate your parasympathetic nervous system would be what we call belly breathing, which is where you relax your belly, right? Then you breathe in down into your belly. So you want to breathe in through your nose, 2, 3, 4. Out through your mouth, 2, 3, 4. And that activates your parasympathetic nervous system, which is, your sympathetic nervous system is the one that does fight and flight and freeze and fawn. It's the one that says, oh my goodness, there's an emergency. And your parasympathetic nervous system is the one that calms you down. So whenever you activate that, well, there's my dog in the background. Whenever you activate that, you will actually feel your body calm down. And that works, and it works very quickly. Another very simple relaxation technique you can do whenever you feel sort of the anxiety in the moment is close your eyes, take slow, deep breaths into your belly like we were just talking about, and with each one, picture a different food item. That sounds silly, but try it the next time you feel overwhelmed or anxious. It really does work. And some of the people on Instagram were saying that that's going to make them gain weight because it's thinking about food. So, but managing the anxiety in those moments and sitting with it and really getting through it is the way to deal with that, because we don't, just because something is a negative feeling doesn't mean that we necessarily have to avoid it, or we don't have to escape it. Uncomfortable feelings, even though they're uncomfortable, are not always bad, right? It's not always a bad thing. For example, in this situation, it's not bad at all, because the uncomfortable feeling is letting you know, like, you're challenging that old conditioning, so that's not a bad thing. It's a very good thing. And there are also some simple grounding techniques you can do. For example, there are some people who, they work really high-stress jobs, or, for example, I speak with a lot of people who touch other people during the day, nurses, massage therapists, that type of situation. And some of the grounding techniques you can do, they're really, really simple, and a lot of them can be done almost anywhere. Meditation, even just for a minute. If you go in the bathroom at work and just meditate for a minute while you're by yourself. Earthing, which is going outside without your shoes on. Taking a shower or water immersion of some type. Belly breathing, like we were saying. Laughter. Take a senses inventory. Something I can see, something I can hear, something I can smell, something I can taste, something I can touch. And visiting nature and going outside.